50-year-old Michael Carter stood in the sweltering heat of New Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport, clutching his backpack and feeling completely overwhelmed by the sensory assault of his first moments in India. The recently divorced software engineer from Portland had decided to spend his sabbatical year traveling through Asia, and India was his first stop. After 25 years of marriage that had ended in bitter divorce proceedings and a midlife crisis that had left him questioning everything, Michael was seeking something he couldn't quite name. Perhaps meaning, perhaps adventure, perhaps just escape from the emptiness of his suburban American life. His ex-wife Jennifer had taken half of everything in the divorce, including the house they had shared for 2 decades. Their 2 children, now adults, lived on opposite coasts and maintained polite but distant relationships with their father. Michael's successful software consulting business provided financial security but little satisfaction. At 50, he found himself wealthy but lonely, accomplished but unfulfilled. The plan was simple: spend 6 months backpacking through India, Nepal, and Southeast Asia, using his accumulated savings to fund a journey of self-discovery. He had read countless travel blogs and guidebooks, but nothing had prepared him for the immediate culture shock of stepping into Delhi's chaotic embrace. After a few overwhelming days in Delhi, Michael took a train to Rajasthan, drawn by photographs of the desert state's magnificent palaces and vibrant culture. He found himself in Jodhpur, the Blue City, wandering through narrow medieval streets lined with indigo-painted houses. The city's imposing Mehrangarh fort dominated the landscape, and Michael spent hours exploring its museums and courtyards, marveling at the craftsmanship and history surrounding him. It was while photographing the sunset from the fort's ramparts that Michael first encountered the Sharma family. He had inadvertently wandered into a restricted area and was politely but firmly redirected by a security guard who spoke excellent English. The guard, who introduced himself as Raj Sharma, was a man about Michael's age with kind eyes and a warm smile. "You are an American tourist, yes?" Raj asked, his English tinged with the melodic accent Michael was beginning to love. "First time in India?" Michael nodded, feeling slightly embarrassed about his trespassing. "I'm sorry about wandering where I shouldn't. I'm still learning the rules here." Raj laughed warmly. "No problem, sir. India can be confusing for first-time visitors. You're staying in city center? The hotels there can be very noisy for Western people. Actually, I'm in a guest house near the clock tower. It's an experience," Michael replied with a wry smile. "Ah, you are adventurous. But if you would like, my family has guest rooms in our home. Very quiet, very clean, and my wife makes excellent Rajasthani food. Much better than hotel food, I promise." Michael hesitated. Every guidebook warned against such invitations, but something about Raj's demeanor suggested genuine hospitality rather than a tourist scam. "That's very kind of you to offer. Please, consider it. I am head of security here at Fort, very respectable position. My family has lived in Jodhpur for many generations. We enjoy meeting travelers who appreciate our culture. No payment required, just friendship." After some internal debate, Michael accepted the invitation. Raj's home was located in a quiet residential area about 20 minutes from the old city center. It was a traditional haveli, a historic mansion with an interior courtyard that had been lovingly maintained by generations of the Sharma family. Michael was welcomed by Raj's wife, Sita, a gracious woman in her late 40s who insisted on serving him tea and snacks despite his protests that he wasn't hungry. The house was beautifully decorated with traditional Rajasthani textiles, antique furniture, and family photographs spanning several generations. "Our family has 3 daughters," Sita explained proudly as she served homemade samosas. "Priya is 28. She teaches at local school. Kavya is 26. She studies computer programming. Mira is 24. She helps me with household and also studies business management." As if summoned by their mother's words, the 3 young women appeared in the courtyard. Michael was struck immediately by their beauty, intelligence, and poise. Priya had an air of quiet authority that spoke to her teaching profession. Kavya possessed a sharp curiosity that manifested in thoughtful questions about American technology industry. Mira combined traditional grace with obvious business acumen as she efficiently organized the household around their unexpected guest. All three women spoke excellent English, having been educated in schools that emphasized both traditional Indian values and modern international perspectives. They were confident, articulate, and clearly well-educated, challenging many of Michael's preconceptions about traditional Indian families. Over the following days, Michael found himself reluctant to leave the Sharma household. Raj invited him to extend his stay, and the family's warmth made it easy to accept. Michael helped Kavya with some programming projects, drawing on his professional expertise to solve problems she was encountering in her studies. He assisted Priya with English language materials for her students and shared stories about American education systems. With Mira, he discussed business strategies and was impressed by her sophisticated understanding of market economics. The family treated Michael not as a paying guest or tourist curiosity, but as a friend whose presence enriched their daily life. He participated in family meals, religious observances, and social gatherings with neighbors. For the first time in years, Michael felt truly connected to other people rather than simply occupying the same space. 3 weeks into his stay, Raj approached Michael with an unexpected request. They were sitting on the rooftop terrace after dinner, watching the fort's lights illuminate the evening sky. "Michael, my friend," Raj began seriously, "I must speak with you about important matter." Michael felt a moment of concern, wondering if he had somehow overstayed his welcome or violated cultural norms he didn't understand. Raj continued, "My wife and I, we have been watching you with our daughters. We see how you treat them with respect, how you appreciate their intelligence and capabilities. We see also how they respond to you, with admiration and growing affection." Michael's heart began racing. "Raj, I hope I haven't done anything inappropriate. I have tremendous respect for your family and your culture." Raj held up his hand with a gentle smile. "Please, let me finish. In our tradition, parents take responsibility for ensuring their daughters find suitable husbands. This is not always easy in modern times. Our daughters are educated, independent, strong-willed. They need a husband who appreciates these qualities, not man who wants to diminish them." "I can certainly understand that," Michael replied carefully. "We have a proposal for you," Raj said, his tone becoming formal. "We would like you to consider marrying all 3 of our daughters." Michael felt as though the world had suddenly tilted on its axis. "I'm sorry, what?" Sita appeared on the terrace, having obviously been waiting for this moment. "Michael," she said gently, "in our family tradition, sometimes one good man marries multiple sisters. This ensures they stay together, support each other, and find husband worthy of their qualities. It is not common in modern times, but it is not unknown." Michael struggled to process what he was hearing. "But I'm 50 years old. Your daughters are young, beautiful, intelligent women who could marry anyone they choose. Why would you want them to marry a divorced American tourist?" Raj and Sita exchanged glances before Raj replied, "Because in these weeks, we have seen your character. You are kind without being weak, successful without being arrogant, experienced without being bitter. Our daughters have never shown such interest in any man their own age. More importantly," Sita added, "they have told us they would consider such arrangement only if it is with you. This is their choice, not just ours." Over the following days, Michael had individual conversations with each of the 3 sisters. To his amazement, they had indeed discussed this possibility among themselves and with their parents. Their reasoning was both practical and emotional. "I am 28, Priya explained during a walk through the city's gardens. "In Indian society, I am already considered late for marriage. Many men my age want traditional wife who will abandon career and focus only on home. You have shown respect for my profession and intelligence." Kavya's perspective was more pragmatic. I want to continue my studies and eventually work in technology field. This requires understanding husband who supports women's careers. Also, marrying together with my sisters means we maintain family bonds that are precious to us. Mira was characteristically direct. You make us laugh. You are patient with our questions about America. You help with household tasks without being asked. You treat our parents with proper respect. These are qualities of good husband, regardless of age. The proposal that emerged was complex but carefully considered. Michael would remain in Jodhpur permanently, using his savings and consulting income to support the extended family. He would marry all three sisters in traditional ceremonies that would be legally recognized under Indian personal law. The women would continue their careers and education, with the understanding that any children would be raised collectively with help from grandparents and extended family. This is not about us lacking options, Priya emphasized. We have each received marriage proposals from suitable Indian men. This is about choosing to build something different, something that honors both our traditions and our individual dreams. Michael spent sleepless nights wrestling with the decision. The rational part of his mind cataloged all the reasons this was impossible: the age difference, the cultural gaps, the legal complications, the reactions of his American family and friends. But a deeper part of him recognized something he had never experienced before: the feeling of being truly wanted and valued by people who saw his authentic self rather than just his financial success or social status. After 2 weeks of careful consideration and extensive discussions with the entire family, Michael made his decision. He would stay in Jodhpur and marry the three Sharma sisters. The engagement ceremony was a grand affair that involved the extended Sharma family and much of their social community. Traditional rituals were performed, gifts were exchanged, and plans were made for 3 separate but coordinated wedding ceremonies. Michael was overwhelmed by the acceptance and enthusiasm of people who had been strangers just months earlier. The legal process was complex but manageable. Michael applied for long-term residency in India, transferred significant funds to Indian banks, and worked with lawyers to ensure the marriages would be properly documented. His ex-wife Jennifer was bewildered but ultimately supportive, recognizing that her former husband seemed happier than she had seen him in decades. His adult children were more skeptical, particularly his daughter Sarah, who worried that her father was being taken advantage of. However, when they visited Jodhpur for the weddings, they were charmed by the Sharma family and impressed by the obvious genuine affection between Michael and his 3 fiancées. The 3 wedding ceremonies took place over the course of a week, each celebrating different aspects of traditional Rajasthani culture. Michael found himself learning Hindi phrases, participating in complex rituals involving fire and flower petals, and wearing elaborate traditional clothing that made him feel simultaneously ridiculous and deeply honored. The marriages proved remarkably successful from the beginning. Each relationship developed its own character while contributing to the family's overall harmony. Priya became Michael's intellectual companion, sharing books and discussing education policy. Kavya introduced him to Indian cinema and technology trends while benefiting from his programming expertise. Mira managed the household finances with skill that impressed Michael's business-trained mind while teaching him about Indian cooking and cultural traditions. The living arrangements worked smoothly thanks to the traditional Haveli architecture and the sisters' lifelong practice of sharing space harmoniously. Michael had his own study where he could work on consulting projects, while the women maintained their individual bedrooms and shared common areas. The rotation of domestic responsibilities and companionship happened naturally, without rigid scheduling. 18 months after the weddings, Priya announced she was pregnant. The news was met with celebration throughout the extended family and community. Michael, at 52, was about to become a father again, something he had never expected after his divorce. The pregnancy proceeded smoothly under the care of both traditional midwives and modern medical professionals. Michael threw himself into preparing for fatherhood in an Indian context, learning about naming ceremonies, religious traditions, and child-rearing practices that differed significantly from his American experience. Priya gave birth to a healthy son they named Arjun, honoring both Indian tradition and Michael's desire for a name that could be easily pronounced by his American family. The baby's arrival was celebrated with elaborate ceremonies that welcomed him into the extended family and community. 6 months later, Kavya also became pregnant, followed by Meera 8 months after that. Michael found himself, at 54, the father of 3 infants and stepfather figure to various cousins and extended family members who regularly visited the household. The children grew up in an environment rich with cultural influences, speaking Hindi, English, and Rajasthani dialect with equal fluency. They were raised with both Indian spiritual traditions and Michael's more secular Western values, creating unique perspectives that combined the best of both worlds. Michael's transformation from divorced American software consultant to Rajasthani patriarch was profound and ongoing. He learned Hindi fluently, converted to Hinduism after extensive study and reflection, and became deeply involved in local community activities. His technical skills made him valuable to local businesses, while his foreign perspective helped him serve as cultural bridge between traditional Jodhpur and the modern global economy. The family's financial situation was excellent thanks to Michael's accumulated wealth and ongoing consulting income. This allowed the women to pursue their career ambitions without financial pressure. Priya became a principal at her school, Kavya launched her own software development company, and Meera established a successful export business selling traditional crafts to international markets. Community acceptance of this unusual family arrangement was gradually achieved through Michael's obvious respect for local customs and the family's contributions to local welfare. They funded scholarships for underprivileged students, supported widows in the neighborhood, and participated actively in religious and cultural festivals. The children represented the ultimate success of this cross-cultural experiment. They were confident in their mixed heritage, equally comfortable in rural Rajasthan villages and international video calls with their American relatives. They understood both ancient Indian philosophy and cutting-edge technology, spoke multiple languages, and possessed global perspectives informed by their unique family structure. Michael's relationship with his American family evolved over time. His children visited regularly and developed close relationships with their Indian stepmothers and half-siblings. His ex-wife, Jennifer, remarried and occasionally commented that Michael seemed more fulfilled in India than he had ever been during their marriage. Now, at 58, Michael often reflects on the series of events that led him from suburban Portland to Jodhpur. What had begun as a simple tourist trip had become a complete life transformation that challenged every assumption about appropriate choices for middle-aged divorced men. The family compound, expanded and modernized with Michael's resources, had become a model of successful cultural integration. Visitors from around the world came to study how traditional Indian family structures could adapt to include Western partners while maintaining their essential character. Michael's story continues to evolve as his children grow and his relationships with his 3 wives deepen and mature. What began as an improbable proposal from strangers had become the foundation for a life richer and more meaningful than anything he had previously imagined. The sunset views from the Haveli's rooftop terrace, where this extraordinary journey had begun with Raj's unexpected invitation, now include the sounds of children playing and the conversations of a large, loving family that spans 2 cultures and represents the beautiful possibilities that emerge when people are open to unexpected opportunities for love, growth, and belonging. Michael's transformation from lonely divorced American to beloved patriarch in Rajasthan demonstrates that happiness and family can be found in the most unexpected places and forms, regardless of age, cultural background, or previous life experiences. His story continues to inspire others to remain open to life's surprising possibilities and to recognize that the most meaningful adventures often begin with a simple willingness to say yes to the unknown.